When we talk about the modern generation of Kenyan musicians who have taken traditional African music to a wider audience, one name that cannot be ignored is Prince Inda. Prince Inda is a Kenyan singer, composer, songwriter, and performer who has become one of the most recognizable names in contemporary Ohangla music. His music is deeply connected to Luo culture, but his ability to combine traditional rhythms with modern musical influences has allowed him to reach audiences far beyond the traditional Ohangla market. His story is particularly inspiring because his success did not begin with wealth, privilege, or an established music career. It began with hardship. It began with the loss of his parents. It began with leaving school and taking manual jobs to survive. And it began with a young man who refused to give up on his passion for music. Today, Prince Inda is recognized as one of the leading figures in modern Ohangla, and his journey demonstrates how talent, determination, mentorship, and cultural identity can transform a difficult beginning into a remarkable career. 1. Early life. Prince Inda was born Evans Ochieng Owino on 9 August 1994 in Marumba Village, Siaya County, Kenya. He was born into a family of 5 children and is reported to have been the third-born child. His parents were Meshach Owino and Caroline Achieng. Although his family roots were in Siaya County, Prince Inda spent part of his early childhood in Huruma, Nairobi, where his family lived. It was in Huruma that he was exposed to the sounds and atmosphere that would eventually influence his musical career. Growing up in an urban environment, he encountered different forms of entertainment and, importantly, local Ohangla performances. The traditional drums, dancing, singing, and energetic performances fascinated him. At that stage, however, there was no guarantee that music would become his profession. Like many young Kenyans growing up in modest circumstances, education and survival were the immediate priorities. 2. The loss of his father. One of the first major turning points in Prince Inda's life came in 2003 when his father died. He was still a young boy. The death of his father dramatically changed the circumstances of the family. Following the loss, the family moved from Nairobi back to their rural home in Marumba, Siaya County. This meant that Prince Inda had to continue growing up while adapting to a completely different environment. He continued with his education and developed a reputation for determination. According to biographical accounts, he began his primary education at Daima Primary School in Huruma, before transferring to Oloma Marumba Primary School after the family returned to Siaya. He eventually sat for his KCPE examinations in 2008, reportedly attaining 360 marks. For a young person facing difficult family circumstances, this was an impressive achievement. It demonstrated that, despite the difficulties around him, he was academically capable and ambitious. 3. Secondary school and another tragedy. After completing primary school, Prince Inda continued his education. He later joined Missions of Hope High School in Machakos County. Unfortunately, his education was interrupted by another devastating event. During his secondary school years, his mother became seriously ill and later passed away. The loss of his mother was another major blow. For Prince Inda, this was more than simply losing a parent. His family had already lost his father, and now he had lost his mother as well. The financial difficulties that followed made it extremely difficult for him to continue with his education. Eventually, he left school. This was not necessarily because he lacked academic ability or ambition. Rather, circumstances forced him to prioritize survival. 4. From student to manual laborer. After leaving school, Prince Inda had to find ways of supporting himself. He became involved in manual jobs, including construction work, commonly referred to in Kenya as mjengo. This period of his life is important because it reveals the contrast between the young man he was and the musician he would eventually become. While many people may see the successful performer on stage today, there was a period when Prince Inda was simply trying to make enough money to survive. he did not have the luxury of immediately pursuing music as a full-time profession. He worked, he struggled, he survived, but his passion for music never disappeared. Even while dealing with difficult circumstances, music continued to occupy an important place in his mind. 5. Discovering his musical passion. Prince Inda's love for Ohangla can be traced back to his experiences in Huruma. Ohangla is deeply associated with Luo cultural traditions and is characterized by powerful percussion, dancing, chanting, and rhythmic vocal performances. For Prince Inda, watching Ohangla musicians perform was more than entertainment. It became an inspiration. He began developing a strong interest in the musicians and performers around him. One of the most important figures in his early musical development was Emma Jalamo, a well-known Ohangla musician who became his mentor. Prince Inda eventually joined the Ramogi Ohangla Rumba Band, associated with Emma Jalamo. He did not enter the music industry as a famous singer. He started from the bottom. He worked around the band and developed his skills through experience. At different stages, he performed roles including dancing, percussion-related duties, and backing vocals. This period became his musical training ground. 6. The importance of Emma Jalamo. Every successful artist usually has people who influence his or her development. For Prince Inda, Emma Jalamo played an important role. Rather than immediately becoming a headline performer, Inda learned through observation and participation. He watched experienced musicians. He learned how live performances worked. He learned how audiences responded to different songs. He learned about stage presence. He learned about Ohangla rhythms. Most importantly, he learned that becoming a professional musician required discipline and patience. This apprenticeship period helped shape him. Instead of simply dreaming about becoming a musician, he began understanding what it actually meant to work as one. 6. The importance of Emma Jalamo. Every successful artist usually has people who influence his or her development. For Prince Inda, Emma Jalamo played an important role. Rather than immediately becoming a headline performer, Inda learned through observation and participation. He watched experienced musicians. He learned how live performances worked. He learned how audiences responded to different songs. He learned about stage presence. He learned about Ohangla rhythms. Most importantly, he learned that becoming a professional musician required discipline and patience. This apprenticeship period helped shape him. Instead of simply dreaming about becoming a musician, he began understanding what it actually meant to work as one. 7. From backup, performer to lead artist. Prince Inda's journey within the Ramogi Ohangla Rumba Band gradually gave him greater confidence. He transitioned from being someone working behind the main performers to becoming a singer who could command attention. His voice, songwriting ability, and stage presence began attracting attention. Eventually, he realized that he had reached a point where he could establish his own musical identity. In 2016, he left the band and established his own group, the Malaika Ohangla Rumba Band. This was one of the biggest decisions of his career. Leaving an established environment is never easy. It means accepting greater responsibility. As the leader of his own group, Prince Inda now had to think not only about performing, but also about musicians, management, promotion, recording, audiences, and the future of the band. The creation of Malaika Ohangla Rumba Band therefore represented a major transition from apprentice to band leader. 8. The birth of Malaika Ohangla Rumba Band. The Malaika Ohangla Rumba Band became the vehicle through which Prince Inda developed his own sound and identity. His approach was not simply to copy older Ohangla musicians. Instead, he sought to preserve the traditional character of the genre while making it attractive to a younger generation. This became one of the secrets behind his growing popularity. He understood that traditional music could remain relevant if it was presented in a way that connected with contemporary listeners. His songs often dealt with subjects familiar to ordinary people: love, relationships, family, society, success, hardship, celebration, heartbreak, and everyday life. Because of this, listeners could connect with his music not only because of the rhythm, but also because of the stories contained within the songs. 9. Breakthrough in music. Prince Inda gradually built a large following through his recordings and live performances. Some of the songs associated with his rise include Cinderella, Nyakisumu, Niar Magori, Kogik Otieno, Duke Jawiro, and Osiepe. His music helped introduce modern Ohangla to people who may not have previously followed the genre closely. The popularity of his songs also demonstrated the power of vernacular music in Kenya. Kenya has numerous musical cultures and languages. For a long time, artists performing predominantly in vernacular languages were sometimes considered to have a limited audience. Prince Inda challenged that idea. He demonstrated that music performed in Doluo could attract a large audience when the production, songwriting, and performance were strong. 10. His unique musical style. One of the things that makes Prince Inda interesting is his ability to balance tradition and modernity. Traditional Ohangla is strongly driven by percussion. The rhythm is central. The drums provide energy. The singers interact with the instruments and the audience. The performance itself can become a communal celebration. Prince Inda maintains many of these characteristics while incorporating contemporary production and songwriting approaches. This has allowed his music to appeal to both older Ohangla fans and younger listeners. His energetic stage performances have also contributed significantly to his popularity. A Prince Inda performance is not simply about standing in front of a microphone. It involves movement, audience interaction, dancing, and the energy of a live band. That performance culture has become an important part of his brand. 11. Collaborations with other artists. Another important stage in Prince Inda's career has been his collaboration with artists outside the traditional Ohangla world. Among the notable artists associated with his collaborations are Bahati and Calligraph Jones. His collaboration with Bahati was particularly significant because it demonstrated how Ohangla could interact with Kenya's mainstream contemporary music. By working with artists from different musical backgrounds, Prince Inda helped break down the boundaries between vernacular music and mainstream Kenyan music. His collaborations also introduced his sound to audiences who might not normally listen to Ohangla. This is important for the evolution of Kenyan music. Rather than keeping traditional music isolated, collaborations allow different musical cultures to interact. Prince Inda has therefore become part of a broader movement that is modernizing Kenyan traditional music without completely abandoning its roots. 12. His cultural contribution. Beyond entertainment, Prince Inda's music represents culture. Ohangla is more than a musical genre. It is connected to Luo history, identity, language, and community. Through his music, Prince Inda has helped keep these cultural elements visible in a rapidly changing entertainment industry. Young Kenyans today consume music from all over the world. Afrobeats, hip-hop, dancehall, amapiano, R&B, and other international sounds dominate much of the global music market. Yet Prince Inda has shown that traditional African music can compete for attention. He has taken a sound deeply rooted in Luo culture and given it a contemporary platform. That is one reason his career is culturally significant. 13. National recognition. Prince Inda's contribution to Kenyan culture has also received national recognition. In 2024, President William Ruto awarded him the Order of the Grand Warrior, OGW. The recognition was associated with his contribution to promoting Kenyan cultural music. This was a major milestone in his career. For an artist who had once left school and worked manual jobs, receiving a national honor represented a remarkable transformation. It also demonstrated that traditional musicians can make contributions worthy of national recognition. The award placed Prince Inda's career in a wider context. He was no longer simply a popular Ohangla performer. He had become an important cultural figure. 14. His personal life. Prince Inda has generally maintained a degree of privacy regarding his personal life. Public biographical accounts have linked him to Winnie Nyamagori, and reports indicate that they have a daughter. His family life has occasionally appeared in his music and public image. One example is his 2025 song Dichol, which Kenyans.iko.ki described as a heartfelt tribute to his wife. However, it is important to separate publicly reported information from rumors, particularly when discussing the private lives of public figures. Prince Inda's public identity remains primarily connected to his music and cultural work. 15. His songwriting. Prince Inda is not only a performer, he is also known for songwriting and composition. This is an important part of his success. A musician can have an excellent voice, but long-term success requires the ability to create songs that people remember. Prince Inda's songs often contain stories and messages that listeners can relate to. His ability to communicate emotions through doluo has helped strengthen his connection with his audience. Love songs, social commentary, and stories about relationships are particularly common themes in his work. His songs can therefore function both as entertainment and as storytelling. 16. The power of his live performances. One of the most important factors behind Prince Inda's popularity is his live performance. Ohangla is particularly suited to live entertainment because of its rhythm and percussion. Prince Inda has built his reputation through energetic shows where audiences can dance and participate. His band plays an important role in creating this atmosphere. Rather than depending entirely on recorded music, the live band remains central to his artistic identity. This has helped him develop a strong relationship with his fans. For many followers, seeing Prince Inda perform live is different from simply listening to one of his songs online. The atmosphere, drums, dancing, and crowd interaction create a completely different experience. 17. His digital era. The growth of social media and digital music platforms has also changed Prince Inda's career. Artists no longer depend entirely on radio and television. They can release music directly to audiences through platforms such as YouTube and other digital services. Prince Inda has benefited from this transformation. His music has reached audiences outside the traditional geographical areas associated with Ohangla. People can now listen to Luo music from Nairobi, Mombasa, Kampala, the United States, Europe, and other parts of the world. Digital platforms have therefore helped turn Ohangla from a regional musical tradition into something capable of reaching an international audience. 18. The meaning of his success. Prince Inda's success is not simply measured by songs or awards. His story is important because of where he came from. He experienced the death of both parents. He left school. He worked manual jobs. He entered the music industry from a relatively humble position. He learned from established musicians. He eventually created his own band. And he built a career strong enough to receive national recognition. This progression demonstrates an important lesson. A difficult beginning does not necessarily determine the end of someone's story. Prince Inda's life shows how talent, combined with persistence, can create opportunities even after serious setbacks. 19. Prince Inda as a role model. For many young people, particularly those from disadvantaged backgrounds, Prince Inda represents hope. His story sends a message that success does not always happen immediately. Sometimes it requires years of learning. Sometimes it requires starting at the bottom. Sometimes people have to work jobs that have nothing to do with their ultimate dreams. But those experiences can become part of the journey. Prince Inda's time working manual jobs did not prevent him from becoming a successful musician. Instead, those experiences became part of the story that made his success meaningful. 20. His impact on modern Ohangla. Prince Inda has become one of the most visible representatives of the younger generation of Ohangla musicians. He has helped make the genre attractive to young listeners. His approach demonstrates that traditional music does not have to remain exactly as it was decades ago. Tradition can evolve. New instruments can be introduced. Modern recording techniques can be used. Artists from different genres can collaborate. Social media can be used for promotion. Yet the cultural identity of the music can remain. That balance between tradition and innovation is perhaps one of Prince Inda's greatest contributions. 21. His legacy. It may still be too early to describe Prince Inda's complete legacy because his career is still developing. However, several aspects of his contribution are already clear. First, he has helped popularize modern Ohangla. Second, he has demonstrated that vernacular music can achieve mainstream recognition. Third, he has helped promote Luo culture through music. Fourth, he has inspired young musicians who want to enter the industry. And fifth, his journey from hardship to national recognition provides an inspirational story for young people. His legacy will ultimately depend on what he does in the coming decades. But the foundation has already been established. 22. Prince Inda today. As of 2026, Prince Inda is 32 years old. He remains active in music and continues to perform and release music. He has moved from being a young apprentice, learning from experienced Ohangla musicians, to becoming a respected band leader and cultural figure. His journey from Marumba and Huruma to national recognition is one of the most remarkable stories in contemporary Kenyan vernacular music. He has demonstrated that traditional African music can evolve without losing its identity. Before we move to conclusion, kindly, do me a favor, hit the subscription button, like and comment about this video. Asante. Conclusion. The story of Prince Inda is ultimately a story about resilience. It is the story of a young Kenyan who experienced enormous personal challenges but refused to allow those challenges to define his future. He lost his father. He lost his mother. He was forced to leave school. He worked manual jobs. He entered the music industry from the bottom. He learned from mentors. He developed his own sound. He formed the Malaika Ohangla Rumba Band. He released successful songs. He collaborated with mainstream Kenyan artists. He built a loyal fan base. And eventually, he received national recognition through the Order of the Grand Warrior. His journey illustrates how culture, talent, and determination can come together to create something much bigger than entertainment. Prince Inda is not simply an Ohangla singer. He represents a generation of African artists who are showing the world that traditional music still has a place in the modern entertainment industry. His music carries the rhythms of Luo culture, but his story carries a universal message. Your circumstances may determine where you begin, but they do not have to determine where you finish. From a young man facing hardship and working to survive, Prince Inda has grown into one of the recognizable faces of modern Ohangla. And perhaps the most important part of his story is that the journey is not over. At only 32 years old in 2026, there is still much more that Prince Inda can contribute to Kenyan music, African culture, and the next generation of musicians. His story continues. His music continues. And his contribution to Ohangla continues to grow. This is the story of Evans Ochieng Owino, the man millions know as Prince Inda, one of the leading voices of modern Ohangla.